Hey guys, Technoman here with the video for you guys. In today's video, I'm going to compare the iPad 5th generation with the 6th generation to give you guys a breakdown with the difference between these two devices. As you can see here, side by side, can't tell much of a difference, but we're going to break everything down for you guys. But before we go ahead and get started, if you guys are new to our channel, we do a lot of tech news, reviews, and giveaways, so make sure that like and subscribe button. Also, if you guys are on the market for an iPad at a discounted price, make sure you guys check out the link in the description section. So let's talk about these two iPads. Surprisingly, there's a lot of difference between these two iPads. The iPad 5th generation here was released in 2017 in March, and then a year later, of course, iPad 6 was released. So only 1 year apart, and in mid 2021, they were over 4 years and 3 years since they have been released, and a lot has changed, of course, between these devices. But between these two devices, some of the noticeable things you'll notice is that between both of these iPads, they're really similar in a lot of ways. That's the thing we'll notice between it. They both have that 9.7 Retina display, as you can see here, with multi-touch here. As you can see, they're the slimmed down version of the previous generation of it, and that's the one thing we notice here. It has things like fingerprint reader, stereo grade speakers, the headphone jack. Both of them have pretty much similar characteristic, is that there's a Wi-Fi model, there's a cellular model as well. You can get Wi-Fi only or cellular. If you hold them side by side, you can't really tell the difference between these two devices, which one is what. And that's where this video comes in, is that between these two devices, a couple things have changed, and that's probably the main thing you want to know in this video, is that the iPad 5 to iPad 6 is that on the iPad 5th is the A9 chip versus the A10 chip. So of course, 1 year later, like every year, Apple comes up with a new chip, so they put a faster chip. So that's the first thing. The next thing is Apple Pencil support. The iPad here, the 6th generation, was the first model that actually supported, that's non-pro model, that supported the Apple Pencil, which of course is only the first generation. So if you have the second generation of the Pencil, iPad 6 unfortunately does not support that. So those are the biggest contrasting difference between these two phones. Things like camera, of course, are pretty much the same in terms of specs. Both of them does have that 8 megapixel camera, as we see in the back and front here. And of course, other things to notice between these two devices is that they're both supported on iOS 14. So that's surprisingly good for them. They'll both get iOS 15 update later this year. As you notice, Apple recently announced it. The one thing we'll say between these two devices, of course, is that the iPad 5th generation probably will get 1 more year less out of life. So we expect maybe another 2 years of major update for the iPad 5th generation, where the 6th generation was going to get another 3 years or so. So expect something like that between these two iPads. So that's the biggest comparison between these two iPads. In terms of price point, is probably another point you're going to be looking at. These iPads, most likely if you're getting it in mid 2021, the thing you're going to be probably looking at is refurbished or used iPad, as newer ones are harder to find because the 8th generation is out, and this is where the price point comes in. Between these two iPads, we notice there's around $30 to $40 difference, maybe even less, so depending on where you look at it. You can get the iPad 5th generation on around $200, where the iPad 6th generation, if you're looking at the price, goes up by another $30, $40. So, but it's going to be roughly under $250 or so. And this is where probably the question you're asking, whether either of these devices are worth it in mid 2021. And this is where one of our reviews, if you have looked at the other ones about these specific, is that because the 8th generation of iPad, the Wi-Fi model, you can actually get it for $300. If you don't care about the cellular model, we probably say get that one, because it's a newer model and it's 2 generations ahead of the 6th generation, and that one's going to be supported for a good 4 to 5 years. So that one just recently came out, and you're going to get a lot more support for it, and you're going to get a lot of things which these iPads, of course, compared to speed, are going to be a little bit slower, and that's kind of our recommendation of it. Nonetheless, both of these devices are phenomenal for both streaming, videos, using social media, any sort of productivity tool that you have. Light gaming, we wouldn't say heavier gaming, like gaming that are meant to play with less graphic are good, but if you're playing games meant to play on the console like PUBG, maybe Call of Duty, things that you play on the gaming console, probably not recommended. But lighter games that are meant to be played, you can easily play on these devices. But you can play some of the heavier graphic games that expect it to be a little bit slower. And other things, of course, if you're using it for FaceTime or even online Zoom classes, Skype, whatever platform that you use, all of that is supported. And it does have slightly not of a great camera. Front facing camera is only a 1.2 megapixel camera, so front facing camera isn't that great, but it still gets you by and gets you with it. Like we mentioned here, things for specifically for video streaming, it's excellent device, better than probably using a phone. Well, screen, of course, not as good as if you're using a TV, but because the iPads are so lightweight and it's easily carryable, you can really sit down somewhere or lay on your bed or do wherever you are, maybe have it next to your working session or something, and you could pretty much play your favorite movie or show and have it right there side by side. So between these two devices, like we mentioned, the only difference you're going to notice is Apple support and just a faster chip on the 6, and that's where the price point is, makes it a little bit different between these two devices. But our recommendation is go with the newer 8 device. If you can pay that extra $50 to even $70, $80 more for, depending on what you want to get, and get a device that's supported. But again, these are still relevant in mid 2021 for your general purpose use. So hopefully this video is helpful. If this video is helpful, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. And if you guys haven't checked out the links in the description section, check those out as well. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time.